Hey, so I've gotten a few requests on going over kind of how this new power hammer I built works. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to talk a little bit about what improvements I already have planned, because it is not a perfect system, but we'll just go over it real quick. You can see down here, blue extension cord. That comes into this 4-square electrical box. I put that outlet on there originally because I had a 3-prong cord going down to my motor. With this motor, I no longer have that, so we just go straight in. That light switch there, you can see, controls the on and off. So if I do that, you can hear the motors going off, motor stops. So that goes down to the motor. We come around to this side. You can see that there is a 2-inch, I think it's technically like 1.85-inch V-belt pulley. This whole thing is suspended on a frame that is, you can see the springs back there. That holds the whole thing up so that there is no tension on the belt until you put your foot down on this pedal in the front. When you do put down your foot on that pedal, it will put tension on the belt, which goes around. This is just a bicycle tire I actually got from the dump. So that is welded. You can see the shaft here is actually welded onto the gears of the bike tire. That way it will freely spin in this direction, which for the cam is the opposite direction. That way if this wants to fall forward, this here, if this wants to keep rotating because of momentum, after I've shut it off, there's no way for it to go back down to the motor. So that's just welded onto the shaft. Goes through a pillow block bearing here. Comes out a second pillow block bearing here. It's kind of dark, but you can see there's just another one. Now for under the inside, you can maybe see in there, you can kind of see there's some collars that they're 1/2-inch set screw collars welded to 1 1/8 washers, just to give it a kind of a flange shape. That's what actually attaches this to the shaft. Those set screws are just tightened down to flat spots I ground on the shaft. Let me pop this spring off real quick. This is a tension spring. It's very difficult to get off. You can see it's a turnbuckle. I added some extra nuts there to keep it from coming apart because I was having issues. It just goes down to a trampoline spring. There's a spot for another one on the other side that I don't have on currently, because I was having trouble with actually having too much spring tension. So let me get this off. Once that comes off, I can lift up the hammer, and you can see under here there is a series of skateboard bearings. Those go on a 5/16 bolt that just runs all the way through. There's a washer on either side just to keep them in place. And that's pretty much how it goes. So motor comes on, it spins, that spins. You can see the cam, once it gets to this high point, it will fall right down. And that hits a lot harder. It bounces less when the springs are actually on there like they're supposed to be. But it makes it really hard to move by hand with the spring on there. So if I have to do any work on it, that spring comes off. That's why it's on the turnbuckle to begin with. Now on to some improvements that I've already found. If anybody's interested in making one of these, the first thing is you can see on my cam down here, sorry about that, you can see that there's already a lot of splintering in the plywood. I already have the materials, I just have to get around to doing it. I'm going to be making a new cam, and I'm going to band the whole thing all the way around with 1/8-inch thick steel. That way it'll prevent that splitting. Just have to cut a new one out and get that assembled. The other thing you may have seen in the other video is there's a lot of wobble, and particularly it looks like this anvil here is what's doing the wobbling, but it's not. The wobble is actually in this base plate down here. That's only a 1/4 inch thick, and everything is just welded onto it, so that needs to be reinforced. I will probably be putting some angle iron on the edges so that it just kind of sticks up, give it a little more rigidity. But yeah, that is how it works. Oh, and the last improvement that will eventually be happening is this hole. You can see that's a hollow, that's an I-beam with some big sucker rod just to reinforce the top plate. That is eventually going to get both the front and the back covered and will be filled with either sand or concrete. That will help improve the weight, and it will also deaden a lot of the noise that I get off of this thing right now. So kind of a twofold improvement. But that is also because it's going to add so much weight. It's not going to happen until this is in a more permanent location. This is only a temporary setup that I've got going inside the barn right now. You can see my forge, my small anvil, and a vise sitting over there. Let's see, anything else? Let's see, you can see that it's bolted through. There's just a sledgehammer. Handle's still intact, at least mostly. There's just 1, 2, and then this bolt. They all go through both of these 2x4s and the handle of the sledgehammer. So this is the pivot. There's no bearings in there or anything. It doesn't move fast enough or far enough to be necessary, in my opinion. Yeah, that's pretty much how the whole thing goes together. You can see the lifting structure back there. That's just on another turnbuckle so that it's adjustable. And that's how the whole thing works. Leave any questions you may have in the comments below, and I will answer them when I can. Have a good day. Bye.